There's so many things going on that are exciting in the Triad right now. In this video, we're going to talk about some of those things. We'll talk about economy and jobs, some food and drinks, of course, a little bit of housing, but stick around to the end. There was a study done on the inventory situation in the Triad that was really unique, kind of really separates it from other parts of the country that I'll tell you about, so stick around to the end. I'm Jeff Valentino. I love helping people buy and sell real estate. If you need help with that, my contact information is below. But you know, Winston-Salem, they just got a write-up in Kiplinger's again. They were named one of the top 5 places in the country to retire. They cited that while, you know, the cost of living is overall low, Winston-Salem still has a great arts and culture scene. There are 6 colleges and universities here, so there's a good mix of young people that are coming to, and then the job and economic outlook of the area keeps them here and making that a good mix of retirees and younger people that are still keeping the town thriving and growing. So that was kind of cool. In other jobs in the economy in Triad, American Airlines just placed a pre-order for 20 of Boom Supersonic's Overture jets that are going to be built in Greensboro with an option to add even more. This makes them the second major airline to pre-order these jets from Boom before they've even started production. They have over 200 pre-orders for these $200 million jets. They're all going to run on 100% sustainable fuel. And they also recently just signed a deal to make a military version that will be built in Greensboro as well, and they will be selling those to the U.S. government. So big things happening at Boom. They're going to begin hiring actually in 2023. And the hope is the total of 4,000 jobs by 2030, but right away they're guaranteeing over 1,700 jobs with an average pay of over $69,000 each. What that's doing for PTI in general, the Piedmont Triad International Airport, one, it's making them first in the country in supersonic flight, which is going to be pretty cool. But it's also causing suppliers to look at PTI and start to develop some of the land that they have here. PTI has, as we mentioned before, over 800 acres that are already ready to be developed. There's infrastructure and everything in. Not only suppliers for Boom, but other companies here like Honda Aircraft, Cessna, they're going to be expanding around PTI too. So that should just add more jobs and really start to cement PTI as a hub for aerospace. You know, Boom also, they have a strategic partnership with Collins Aerospace in Winston-Salem. It's really strengthening their position in the aircraft and aircraft manufacturing sector. So I'm looking for some exciting things to come from that as this develops beginning in 2023 when those 800 acres start getting developed. Also, just coming up this past week, a new law eased some of the requirements for Toyota and their battery manufacturing plant that's going to be in the Triad as well. This was done in an effort to get Toyota to commit to their phase 2 plan earlier rather than waiting a few years to see how phase 1 goes. We'll see if that works out or not, but phase 2 would, if that comes here to Greensboro and the Triad, that would make it the single largest economic investment. So as you know, Toyota has a goal to have over 70% of their vehicles electrified by 2030. This is also bringing other related jobs and businesses to the area as well. So again, you know, experts have predicted that this could mean a total of over 10,000 jobs for the Triad in the coming years. An interesting thing about this though, when I was reading this article, is that also in this law there was another manufacturer, not named but referred to as a large manufacturer. I don't know who that is, but I'll be interested to see on if that comes to pass on what other large manufacturer could be coming to the Triad. I even have some stuff about High Point this time. So not only do they have that 10-year plan to totally redevelop downtown that the university is making, but they just approved plans to rezone 148 acres in kind of southwest High Point, right near Thomasville. The plan is to build and develop about 1 million square feet of industrial space. Now that's going to be right near where Ecolab is coming to High Point as well, that they announced, I believe it was back in May or June. They're bringing an over 800,000 square foot facility right to the area there and 150 jobs. So it's good to see that kind of Carolina core, that, you know, this part of the Carolina core just start to take shape and develop. We'll see how that goes over the years. Then in the job market in the Triad, you know, unemployment is near an all-time low. There are more job openings than there are people looking for them. Even with economic uncertainty, a lot of places are still hiring. Winston-Salem, Greensboro and High Point, they added over 17,000 jobs over the last year. That puts them in the top half of metros in the entire country for job growth, which is exciting. businesses around here still say labor shortages are one of their biggest concerns. So even with, the economic uncertainty, we're still adding a lot of jobs here, which is good. And because there right now are more jobs than there are people looking for them, that should speak good things to people that are looking for an increase in wages, right? If you have the supply and demand, more supply of jobs than demand for people to take them, so wages theoretically should go up. We'll see what happens there. Then in food and drink, the Triad made some news across the state again. The North Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association hosted their annual throwdown. They had over 60 competitors in Raleigh, and happy to say some people from the Triad took first place. Lydia Green, who is the pastry chef at one of my favorite restaurants, Machete in Greensboro, she won first place for pastry chef. David Bowen of the Ginger Fox in Winston-Salem won first place for mixologist. Broad Branch Distillery in Winston-Salem also won Distillery of the Year, and Chef Kevin Cottrell, also of Machete in Greensboro, was first runner-up for Chef of the Year. So some great accolades that are happening in the Triad from the food and drink scene. I've been to all these places that mentioned. They're all fantastic. You should try them if you haven't. Now in housing news, while the market might be cooling a little bit, it's still, not simple for people to go out and buy a home because the overall market is still competitive. A financial technology company called Stasa just recently did a study, and they ranked other affordable metros, meaning a lower than average cost of living than other places across the country, right? We know that the Triad is, has a generally lower cost of living, and they ranked others. And amongst those rankings, they found that the Triad had some of the lowest levels of housing inventory in the country when compared to these other affordable areas. And the way they measured inventory was interesting. I haven't really heard it expressed like this before. They took the total number of active listings per 10,000 existing homes. So out of 10,000 houses in this area, how many are active listings? And that's how they measured inventory, which was, I haven't seen it done like that before, so that was kind of neat. So here's what some of those numbers looked like. Now, on the high end of that side, you have Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They had 172 active listings for every 10,000 existing homes. Asheville, North Carolina had 64 listings for every 10,000 existing homes. So they were kind of like middle of the pack. That was kind of the average. And then you have Winston-Salem had only 41 listings for every 10,000 homes. And Greensboro had even less. They had only 31 active listings for every 10,000 homes. So that's why it's important to understand that, real estate is local. And then, like we've talked about before, even within these areas, it's hyper-local because there are parts of Winston-Salem, Greensboro and High Point that are going to be more desirable than others. But these numbers showed that the Triad, is kind of what you've been seeing. You've been thinking about buying a house here. You've been looking, watching the real estate market. You know that one, there hasn't been a lot of houses, and two, it's been competitive. And I'll talk about it a little bit more in the next market update video. We'll get into a little bit more detail of that because it is changing a little bit. But this points to the overall fact, again, real estate's local, and then within that, it's hyper-local. If you need help buying or selling a house, I'd love to be a resource for you. My contact information is below. You can email me directly at jeff@govalentino.com. Thanks.